Hello, ghouls, ghasts, and fanged folks alike, and welcome to Euphoria. Thank you so much for joining us for this solo stream of A Rush of Blood. My name is Fiona, I use she, her pronouns, and I am a white woman with soft, mid-length, blondie, probably more browny hair with blue eyes. I'm wearing a blue shirt that's got a logo for Improv College on it, an amazing improv school, and my traditional Lucian yaks, which are black dungarees today, or overalls depending on where you're from. I am a improviser, an actual play performer, and a podcaster amongst many different roles and many different hats. But today, friends, I have the incredible honour and privilege of being your player for this stream. Let me tell you a bit more about what Rush of Blood is at the top of the stream and what we're going to do today. So Rush of Blood by Julia Cartes is a solo role-playing RPG where you will assume the role of a vampire's favourite feeding subject. The game uses a set of tarot cards that are assigned journaling prompts and will guide the character, her vampire paramour, and the whole world around them. The player will make up characters, places, and events to progress their story based on the given prompts. Before playing, the player, me, will choose what time and place we're going to want the game to be set in, create the character and her vampire, and decide what their relationship is like. After the initial establishing questions, the player will then begin the game and journal with the prompts provided. If you like the sound of this game already, please go check out and grab your own copy on Julia's itch.io page. There should be a link either in the chat or in the show notes or in the bit below. Now, with all that in mind, one must always be careful and check in with themselves when we're doing solo RPGs. I have some safety tools in effect for me, I've done some lines and veils, but as always, do take care of yourselves and step away should you need to. I just want to give you full permission, those people who are watching at home or listening in afterwards, you've got to keep yourself safe, right? And take a break from watching the story should you need to. As I always say, you're more important than the rolls on the table or this silly little story, which in my head is just Vampire Diaries. Finally, this stream is being produced on Euphoria. Euphoria aims to raise the bar for diversity, safety, and excellence in the EU and UK TTRPG scene, headed by the wonderful Darcy and Ida. They have put together some incredible shows and events, including the Summer of Sci-Fi that has just finished this year, and the upcoming British Black History Month. I'm very excited to see that. Be sure to I'm rushing ahead of myself. Be sure to follow Euphoria on all the socials listed below to find out what else is coming, and maybe spread the word a little bit, share on your various social platforms as well, and consider joining the Patreon. That'd be really cool of you to do so. That's all the admin out of the way. How exciting, friends. So I'm just going to finish up before we go into character creation by talking about basically setting some expectations for this game, because again, it's a solo RPG game. We've done a couple of these before on Euphoria, and what to expect as we're going through it. So initially, I was thinking of having like a top-down camera so you could see my cards as we were going. However, despite I do have the ability to do so, the issue is my desk is very dirty, and I was like, I don't need people to be distracted by going, God, she's got a lot of cups and mugs out whilst we're doing this game. So we're not going to have the top-down view for the game in terms of me showing cards. I will show them up to the camera and then put them to one side. The other thing as well, I just want to head up. We'll read what we normally do with these solo RPGs. We always read through them because I do think you gain a lot by reading through them yourselves. It's almost like learn as we go. I'm a big fan of that sort of thing. But I do want to just point out some tweaks that I have done to this game already, because I've already read this game in advance for the stream. So obviously with vampires, we know, maybe I should just go over the content warnings already. So vampires, let's face it, we know there's stuff around consent. We know there's going to be stuff around blood. There's definitely going to be very heated, probably sexually charged moments, romantically charged moments. And one of the cards, the world card, indicates a prompt which is like a sexual experience. I've taken that out of the game for this playthrough. I'm not going to justify why, but similarly, in the PDF, there are two incredibly beautiful illustrations that do show full frontal nudity. Again, I really love that, but unfortunately, I've taken those out for now just because I don't want to get caught by Twitch. That's the justification, really. I just want to make sure that when we're playing this, again, you can listen to it and not be worried about where you're listening to it. It's probably it's not going to be safe for work. Put it like that. So those are the only tweaks I've done. And actually, you never need to justify why it is. I thought I'd just justify it for now because I don't want people to think, oh, something's missing. It's literally because of that, and you'll see as we go through. But yeah, and just wanted to head that up. That's why there are 2 missing pages in this particular book. I think that's it in terms of expectations, and I've sort of said through the content warnings as well. If anything else comes up, I'll be sure to mention it. My plan is we're going to read through the book, the first part of it, and get set up. We'll then take a break, probably about 5 minutes, and then we'll start playing. We'll see how much we can get through. We might not get through the whole game. As always, I'm much more of a person that likes to go through these things and talk. For this game, as always, I've set up my Notion, so I'll put a few maybe some words and stuff to help me with the prompts, but often I'll be voicing my thoughts out loud. So if I contradict myself or pronounce someone's name wrong or give someone else a new name that didn't have a name to begin with, or did have a name to begin with even, I know. Again, like I said, I'd want to be able to show a way you can play RPG games that's not necessarily perfect, so then you know that you can play these games wrong as well and just enjoy the experience of actually playing a game. I think that's everything. Those are my expectations done. Let's go over to the main game overlay where... There it is. It's incredible. So this is the front cover of Russia Blood. Love to the last drop. I really love this image. So just to describe it, we have like a beautiful pen drawing, I want to say, black and white, which is like the point of view of the vampire at one end of a table looking over at the favourite feeding subject. Looks to be like a woman. You can tell that she's been fed upon. She has puncture wounds in her neck, and the sort of a big highlighted colour on this whole page is red. We've got red in the glasses, we've got reds all around, and then red on this person's neck as well, and a bit of red on the napkin underneath, highlighting that you are probably looking from the point of view of a vampire. Indicating that there's blood in the glasses as well. We also have on the Russia Blood a great font. I really like that, and the blood itself is in red, and then love to the last drop, love is in red as well. I really love how simple and effective this cover is. It's beautiful. The PDF itself is about 57 pages or so, and yeah, a lot of it will be the prompts that we get to when we're pulling out our cards as well. So let's get straight in, shall we? Ooh, I rushed ahead. So they got a Russia Blood, and there is our credits. Roll credits. So yeah, Julia Cartes is the person behind it. We've got Marion Cartes as well. Clayton Notestein, I believe, is the template for this. And Alter Doodle did the design elements. Oh, I'm a massive fan of Alter Doodle. They've got some really great work, in which we'll see on the next page actually. So the table of contents, you see this sort of this. What do they call it? It's not a banner. It's what's it called? It's like a frame. That's Alter Doodle's work. Beautiful, love that. So we've got this table of contents. So it's split up into a couple of sections, as always with these games. So we have at the top what this game is about, which we'll read through. Setting up the game, which we'll read through as well. The rules, character creation, and then from 22 pages onwards, it is the journaling prompts. We've got the major arcana and minor arcana, which obviously refers to tarot cards, and then we've got endings and then court cards, pre-made scenarios and resources as well. So yeah, so I'm very excited. So it should be a fairly quick game to set up, and so you can just get going. One thing I was going to say is that this game, like if you don't have a tarot card deck, 'cause I know not everyone will have access to it, there are online versions of tarot cards. You just need to edit it ever so slightly. I'm going to use a physical one today, but you have online ones as well that change a bit of play, but it describes how we do that in there. Okay, sorry, my chair is very squeaky today. I don't know why. Right, next page then. All right, and I'll also zoom in a little bit so people can read, because that's kind of fun as well. So, as we've sort of said at the top, what is Russia Blood? It is a solo journaling TTRPG where you will assume the role of a vampire's favourite feeding subject. The game uses a set of tarot cards, which we've got. Actually, I should really show my tarot cards, should I? I am using some very big cards, because again, I initially thought I was going to do like a top-down view, and sometimes tarot cards, they are quite small, but I'm actually using Cthulhu Dark Art tarot cards, which are massive. Look how big these cards are. I love it. And yes, we've got a nice version there. That is the King of Pentacles. So yeah, maybe I'll switch to the main camera so people can see it, etc. So I have that to one side. Ooh. This chair is so squeaky. And these cards will indicate assigned journaling prompts, and they will guide your character, her vampire paramour, and the whole world around them. You will make up the characters, places, and events to progress your story based on the given prompts. we have some sidebar stuff here as well. So what is a vampire? Because again, vampire lore changes from culture to culture, history to history, country to country is what I meant to say, not history to history. In A Rush of Blood, a vampire is an immortal being that used to be human before being turned. They must feed on blood to survive, but you can change or add any further lore you want to your vampire. So the basic sort of template of that, they drink blood to survive, and they are an immortal being that used to once be human. That's it. Those are the sort of few sort of tenets you have to set up your vampire character. Before we begin playing, you will choose what time and place you want to set the game in, create your character and her vampire, and decide what her relationship is like. After the initial establishing questions, you will begin the game and journal on the prompts provided. Excellent. Excuse me. The themes of the game. So the game explores the intimacy of being a vampire's favourite blood source. You'll play through the impact it has on your character's life, how her relationships change, both with her loved ones, the world, and herself. At the core of this game is a romantically and sexually charged relationship between your character and her vampire lady, or vampiric lady, I'm so sorry. Many of the prompts will push you to experiment with this aspect of your character's relationship with the vampire. Being fed upon by a vampire makes your character feel ecstatic, like she's experiencing the most intimate and intense feelings in the world. Your character is not mind controlled by the vampire. Rather, she is subtly, you get what I mean, and supernaturally influenced to deeply enjoy the experience of being drunk upon. The vampire is referred to as your lady in the text of the game, but this does not need to influence the way your character's relationship with her vampire works, nor how your character refers to her. And here we've got some touchstones here. Interview with a vampire. Again, I'd actually even recommend the TV show. It's fine. It's not the same as the Interview with the Vampire film, but, you know, Handmaiden, that is a cracking film, I would say. Just be careful who you watch it with. I might have watched it with my parents. And then Carmilla. Sorry. The relationship between your character and her lady can range anywhere between sweet star-crossed lovers to an abusive romance. It depends on you and what story you want to tell. You will decide the details of the relationship in the establishing questions section on page 18. The game is meant to be played with both player character and vampire being women, and it refers to them as such. If you wish, you can change the genders of these characters. I think, no, I'd like to explore both characters being women. Safety tools, here we go. So this game is full of confusing emotions, dramatic events, and supernatural influences. You play a woman with little control over a large part of her life. She can always be called upon, always be demanded of, and her boundaries may be crossed. There is a part of her that belongs to someone else, whether it be her mind, her heart, or her agency. The order in which you draw cards, as well as how your game ends, can make the relationship between your character and her vampire uncomfortable to you. If you feel overwhelmed by how the game is going, you can rewrite the prompts, skip them, or just journal a better resolution without pulling cards. If you need to, take a break and take some time away. It's good to know. A really great way of writing it as well. And then off the sidebar, which I spotted earlier, to remove sexual themes, take out the world card from your deck. So we've done that already. So I very much appreciate that in solo RPGs, if it just gives us a heads up about certain cards without necessarily spoiling that card and saying what it thinks. It's like, okay, if you don't like sexual themes in your game, take out this particular card. So yeah, that's a go for me. All right. Setting up the game. So what we'll need a copy of the rules. We've got a journal, physical or digital. We're going to be using Notion, so that's good. So that will record our progress and thoughts, maybe like audio or video recording devices. Hello, stream. Oh, I did forget to say at the beginning of the stream, this is pre-recorded. Yes, unfortunately, I am not here live speaking to you whilst trying to work out my relationship with vampires. So, just to say, if you're chatting away in chat and you're wondering why I'm not necessarily talking to you straight away or sort of acknowledging your comments, it's because I'm not seeing them right now. I may be in chat a little bit, but I think I'm away that this particular weekend that it's going out. So massive apologies. It is pre-recorded the stream, but I hope you're enjoying it regardless. And yeah, please engage and chat and see where you think the story could go, because I will definitely be reading the comments afterwards. Next up we need is 4 tokens. They can be anything: dice, coins, miniatures, etc. Okay, well, I'm always bad at having tokens that aren't just dice, but so what? So I'm going to grab 4 pink dice. Okay, I got my little Solemn Veil dice, which I love. I love my Solemn Veil dice. So I'm going to use 4 of those. Okay, they're off to one side. Oh, and then a single d6, typical. All right, well, I'll use the white d6 from my Solemn Veil set then. The rest of them are pink. And then we've got a deck of tarot cards, tarot cards, which will give us prompts to journal upon. If you play with a physical deck, separate the court cards, so pages, knights, queens, and kings, separate from the others. I've already done that because I thought I would want to do that. And it says here, if you play with an online generator, you will skip court cards whenever they come up. Interesting. So it sounds like, again, quite a lot of online generators maybe don't easily separate them from there as well. Look at this beautiful, gorgeous artwork here. I love it. Look at the jewels. Oh, it's really something, isn't it? Okay, so that's the setup. That's all we need in terms of setting up. So the gameplay loop, how we play for a turn. So it's quite simple. We're going to shuffle the cards, we pull a single card and journal on its prompt, or use a token to skip the card. Option is that we use a court card, so one of these things, or use an action. Those are 2 optional things we can do, and then we discard the card. And then you can see there on the sidebar we have, how to play with an online generator instead, it's a little bit different. So, how do we journal? However you like. You can do it as prose, poetry, letters, or in a diary format. You can either record videos or voice clips of your game rather than write out your entries. Your entries can be as long or as short or as long as you like. You can find an example of gameplay with a few journal entries later on, so that's fantastic. And then the difference between major and minor arcana, because again, some people might never have played with tarot cards before. So major arcana are named cards in the deck. They have a great influence over your character's life and signify the most dramatic events. And then minor arcana are cards that are made up of 4 suits. We have wands, cups, pentacles, and swords. They cause less drama in your character's life, but probably still have quite a big impact. And we have some special cards as well. So some cards in A Rush of Blood do more than just provide prompts. There are 2 kinds of special cards. There are 2 special types of cards that you will pull from the deck every once in a while. We have skull cards or action cards. Skull cards are recognised by a symbol of skull next to their name, so this is going to be in the PDF itself, and can potentially bring your game to an end. Action cards are recognised by an additional prompt, give you power. You can choose to make your character attempt a drastic action in her life and roll to see if she succeeds. There is also a 3rd type of special card called court cards. Court cards are kept separate from the main deck that you use to pull cards from. Those special cards provide side characters and prompts related to them that you can use in your game. Using court cards is entirely optional. We might do 1 or 2, again, just to see how they are. More details are on the following pages. Amazing. So, finally we've got minor arcana ace cards. So the ace cards of each suit of the minor arcanas are unique. Instead of outlining events, they give you an opportunity to dive into your character's past and present and learn more about her opinions, the outlook on the world, and thoughts. Right, so now we're going to go into a bit more detail about what skull cards are. So, most of the major arcana cards function similarly to minor arcana cards, but 4 of them can end the game entirely. Those 4 ending cards are marked with a symbol of the skull, and we have the Hermit, Death, the Tower, and the Sun. So those 4 cards can end the game. Whenever you pull a skull card, it will have 2 options on it. One of them, marked with a skull, will have a game-ending prompt. You can choose it, journal on it, and end the game. It says here you cannot use your tokens to skip a skull card, so that's very good to know. The other option allows you to ignore the skull prompt for now. Instead, journal on the alternative prompt provided, and put the card back in the pile you pull your cards from. The second time you pull the skull card, you have to use the skull prompt. So I like that a lot. Because who knows, I might just pull it out straight away and be like, dead, So I quite like that a lot. So I think we'll give ourselves at least one, mulligan, so to speak. We'll have one go and see where we go from there. It's going to give us an example here, like the tower. I won't read it now because I don't want to spoil it. Action cards can be found in both the major and arcana. Oh, say that again, Fiona. Action cards can be found in both the major and minor arcana suits. Those cards give your character a chance to attempt to gain some agency in her life, to end or permanently change her relationship with her lady. There are 3 actions your character can take: run away from your lady, attempt to kill your lady alone or with help, request your lady to turn you into a vampire. You can choose this action permitted by the card after journaling on the prompt it gives. Right, so we can't, you've got to do the prompt first and then do it. Then you roll a d6 and compare your result to the amount of tokens you have left and the table on page 13 to see if your character managed to pull off what she wants to do. Keep in mind that succeeding on an action will end the game. If you succeed on a chosen action, go to Endings, Action section, page 52 here, and proceed with the prompts there. Ooh, okay, so it's quite a... I guess it's a moment, isn't it? Again, maybe we don't want to do it the first time it comes up. Yeah, we'll see. And then there's an example there. Don't look. Okay. And then we've got court cards. Pages, knights, queens, and kings. When you begin your game, remove the court cards from the rest and separate them into 4 piles. Oh, 4 piles? I did not read that, did I? So let's do that. We'll do that quickly as we're reading through. Pages with pages, knights with knights, etc. Okay, so quick. Thankfully, there's not too many. There's just 4 of them, so that's okay. Pentacles. Where are you, kings? Page. Again, the artwork on these things is great, so I can't wait to show folks them. That's quite exciting. Knight, queen, knight, page, page, king, queen, and knight. Okay, they're all done now. Court cards are assistant cards that help you make NPCs or non-player characters as they come up in the game. You can pull a random card or choose from a specific category to generate ideas. Pages are strangers, knights are your friends or your character's friends, queens are your character's family members, and kings are vampires other than your character's lady. Ooh, I'm just mixing up my cards as I'm trying to speak. If you're using an online generator, skip them when they come without spending a token. Okay, great. And they're outlined a little bit later in the PDF as well. All right, I've got them there ready to go. The court cards are entirely optional and you can ignore them while playing. Again, I think I'd like to use at least one of them, just to get the vibe of it as we're doing this. Don't look. Don't look. All right, tokens. So tokens in A Rush of Blood are used in 2 ways, either to skip a card or to decide the resolution of an action you can undertake. You pull an action card. So the only cards we can't skip are the skull cards it has here. So they can be used to skip a card that you don't want to write about as a prompt. Using a token to skip a card doesn't mean that the event of the prompt doesn't happen. Whatever card you pulled, its prompt still happens, but your character either ignores it, chooses not to engage with it, or represses the memory of the event. You're free to interpret the skipping of a card in whichever ways of the above you wish, and however it suits your story. When you skip a card, discard a token. It is no longer in the pool of tokens when it is used when undertaking actions. Okie dokie. Then using tokens whilst undertaking actions. So tokens are also used to resolve the action card. The more tokens you have in the pool, the higher your chance of succeeding on an action when you pull an action card. Having more tokens means your character hasn't been avoiding dramatic situations and hasn't repressed any memories or events to do with her lady or influence. You have more control over your life and so a higher chance of succeeding at what you set out to do. When you choose to attempt an action, roll a d6 and consult the table below to see the result. Let's see, the previous prompts you pulled still affect both your character and your lady. Play it by ear and trust yourself with your characters. The roll is there to help you if you are unsure whether your character would succeed. If you know it would go badly or you want it to go badly, just play it like that. So that's nice as well. Again, I personally like the random element of these things. So here we go. So we can see here, if we have the full 4 tokens, and then roll, we are more likely to succeed. We'd only fail on a 1, but then the less tokens we have, it sort of switches the other way. which is really interesting. Okay. Then we've got some optional rules as well. So, relationship tracker. So draw a simple tracker like the one below and put a 0 on it. Maybe I'll just do that as a bit of piece of paper, perhaps. Well, I'll put it in our Notion. That's what I'll do. So we have a line, and we have 0 in the middle, and we have 1, 2 positive integers, and then like -2, -1 are on the left-hand side as negative integers. No, I don't know. Negative numbers is better, isn't it? When events that can strongly affect your relationships happen, you will move the item up and down on the tracker. Having a certain relationship with your lady gives drawbacks and benefits, or gives you drawbacks and benefits. Consult the chart below. If she finds out you lied, betrayed her, or collaborated with other vampires or hunters against her, move your item on the tracker down by 1. If she finds out you defended her or took care of her when she needed it at the cost of your own safety or health, move it up by 1. And then we've got like a description for each where you are on the tracker. So if we're at -2 on the far left, your lady actively antagonizes you. The hindrance of the +1 relationship applies here as well. If you do something that will bring your tracker below -2, your lady leaves you or kills you. Proceed with the hermit or the tower ending as if your lady was the one to kill you. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, sorry, I skipped ahead. Your lady has some issues with your behaviour. This is for the -1. She's unlikely to listen to your advice and doesn't trust you. Any action roll is considered to be a level lower than rolled. She's less likely to turn you, less likely to let you live, and will make it harder for you to kill her. Okay, so that's good to remember. So if we're at 0, your lady is neutral towards you, so it doesn't like or dislike. 1, +1, we have your lady has a soft spot for you. She will take your advice and trust you. Any action roll is considered to be a higher level than you've rolled. Okay, great. She'll be more likely to turn you, more likely to let you be independent, and will lower her guard around you. And then with a 2, your lady trusts you absolutely. Benefit of the +1 relationship applies here as well. On top of that, you can retry any action. If you do something that would bring your tracker to be above 2, your lady leaves you out of care for you or turns you into a vampire. Proceed with the hermit ending or the death ending as if your lady was the one to turn you. Exciting. Okay. Actions have consequences. An unsuccessful roll on an action is likely to cause some problems. The consequences will depend on the action attempted. Consider the prompts below whilst you journal on your card. If you aim to kill your lady and failed, she will consider killing you. You may let this happen or try to roll an action roll to convince her to turn you. You will be forever tied to her. If your attempt to kill her was in collaboration with vampire hunters, you can instead retry the action. If it fails again, both you and the hunters are wiped out by your lady. Proceed with the tower ending. I guess the tower ending is not the one we want. If you attempt to leave your lady, she will keep a closer eye on you. She gets controlling and doesn't want you to leave her sight. If you try to convince your lady to turn you into a vampire and failed, she shares that, choose 1. She loves you too much as her blood bag. Oh God, what a horrible word. She thinks you would fail as a vampire and would embarrass her. Or she adores your humanity too much. Oh, she adores your humanity and natural spark too much. Ooh, gosh. This effect will stay active for 5 rounds of gameplay. As long as it's active, you cannot use any actions. After you've pulled 5 cards, your lady gets over it. And the game returns to normal. Your lady just gets over it. Oh, what a great image. Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it? Oh, it's a sort of an individual wearing a beautiful sort of dress, holding flowers, femme presenting, and he's giving other flowers, and she looks delighted, excited. You can see little fangs coming out. Oh, I love it. Repression. This optional rule allows you to play a very repressed character. You can play it as your character refusing to acknowledge her sexuality or the growing romantic tension between her and her lady. Alternatively, your character can ignore or repress some conflicts and negative effects that happen to her. To play with the repression rule, adjust the amount of tokens you will have access to. If your character represses her sexuality or bad events in her life, take 8 tokens instead of 4 when you begin the game. If she represses both, take 12 tokens. You are unable to take any actions as long as you have more than 4 tokens left. Ooh, interesting. I think for this playthrough, we won't play with that rule. But what a great way of like telling a story about that. And I love that as a way to replay this game with having more tokens and stuff. And that rule of like, you can't take any actions as long as you have 4 tokens. That's really interesting. Again, it goes into that whole like, you're repressing stuff, so you have to skip cards. I really like that. Then we've got alternative modes of play. So if you want to do longer ones, you can use tokens to skip skull cards like any other, and you can combine it with the repression rule set as well for the longest game possible. Then alternatively, we could do it in the observer mode. So you don't play as your lady's favourite feeding subject, but instead you play from a point of view of a third party. That's very exciting. I really like that idea. It can be anyone that's close to either your character or her lady. If the observer is tied to the feeding subject, she could be a worried parent, an interfering friend, a curious neighbour, or a vampire jealous of either of you. I instantly think of Amadeus. I don't know if anyone's seen that film, where you have the point of view of the rival musician who's so jealous of Amadeus's beautiful musical talent and just watches him like descend and look, into bad habits and stuff. It's great. It's one of my favourite films. Incredibly long film though. If the observer is tied to the lady, they could be the lady's close confidant, another feeding subject, oh, that's interesting, or another vampire intrigued by the unique relationship between the two characters. The observer can also be a vampire hunter, slowly getting closer to the kill. You can also choose one of the concepts provided by the court cards. Oh, that's quite cool. And use those as an inspiration for your observer. It's up to you how the observer keeps an eye on these two characters. Again, it's just a different way of like writing a story from a different perspective. Yeah, really like that. Okay, great. There we go. We've got all the characters done. Let's start with establishing questions. So, let's decide the setting. So you can play this game at any time or any place. Consider whilst creating your character, your lady, and while you draw cards. You can find example settings and ideas for who your character can be on page 56. Let's go check that out, shall we? Because I feel like that could be quite... I'm always up for like suggestions for things. I never come into these games with a very strong way of thinking about things. So here we go. We've got some pre-made scenarios on page 56. So we have ancient Egypt, priestesses serving in the temple of Set, medieval France, a noble lady and her servant. You play the noble lady and your servant turns out to be a vampire. Her feelings for you are, you're just inconvenient to her, a stable source of food that could never leave. We've got the golden age of piracy, a pirate captain and her shipmate. 70s England biker rivals. Oh, that's quite cool, isn't it? I like that. Modern day Tokyo best friends. Brilliant. I think, oh man, the biker rival sounds really cool. But let's go Occam's razor. I think medieval France, noble lady and her servant. I like the switch on the status there. That's quite good. And yeah, in each of these scenarios, you can see here, like, you've got what her feelings are you for her as she starts out. So you're just, that's what her point of view is, that you're convenient for her. So maybe we'll change that. So let's start. Let me grab my Notion page. Oh no, is my mouse failing at me at the last minute? No, it's fine. All right, I'm gonna just open up my Notion. And I'll just. There we go. Hooray! So, setting is, let's copy and paste from the document, shall we? So, medieval France, noble lady and her servant. Okay. Go. Perfect. Sweet. So I play the noble lady. Yep. And so it tells me that her feelings for you are, you're just convenient to her, a stable source of food that could never leave. Nice. I like that as well. Great. Okay. Let's go back to that page. Or was it 2022? I think that's when we wanted to start. Oh, that's journaling prompts. Don't look. Oh, that's the play example as well. Don't look. Okay, there we go. Create your character and her lady. Journal on the following prompts. Feel free to use the assisting questions or skip any that don't work to you. So describe yourself. What's your age? Oh, name, age, place of birth. Who's your family and what kind of background do you come from? What has your life been like before you met your lady? Okay, let's copy and paste this. All right. So, oh man, and this is the problem when it comes to naming myself. Do I know any French names that's not Madeline or Joan? Tell you what, I'm gonna quickly look up some French names. Let's go to namegenerator.com. French. Eloise is a good name. Oh, Eladine. Oh, I like that. I know a cat called Eladine. Chantal. I think. Oh, there's Eugenie there. Let's go for Eladine. Or maybe I did that. I think I might have done that name before when I did 1,000 Year Vampire. I think I called her Eladine there as well. Or Eladine. Eladine. How about, because let's go Eloise. Eloise is probably better. Eloise. Lady Eloise. I'm 30. I'm a bit older. Place of birth, I think in one of the more rural places of France. France. I think if we're thinking of medieval France, I think I grew up sort of outside of Paris, and that was more of a rural place. And maybe then we were sort of good fortune with the family, moved to various courts near like Versailles, for example. My father was in favour with whichever monarch is at the time, and we became part of the court. And as I grew older, I didn't necessarily take a partner. I had many male suitors, but I didn't really take any of them, as it was clear that I was not interested. I didn't care for that sort of stuff. So I think I grew up knowing business, perhaps, maybe knowing a little bit, focusing my studies on like letter writing and numbers, because I was maybe the only child of the family, and I wanted to make sure that I could be seen as someone that was reliable in court. You know, I did the dances, I did the ladies who lunch, that sort of thing, and it was a boring life. Like, it was day after day, same thing, you know, meet the same people, have the same conversations about the weather, about eating, various balls that would happen, but the same people, same scandals, but new faces. And I just got tiresome of it. It always, as always with these things, feels like the young is always chasing it. It's always happening to the young, and then suddenly you're not in the young crowd anymore. You're in the slightly on the shelf bit. I think my father is much older now, a little bit sickly, but nothing terrible. My mother passed away many years ago. Sad, but I don't feel it too much. You know, I've tried to be. I think by default I am the head of the household as a result. So, head of the household and business interests of the court. Mundane, day by day. Same new day, same old rubbish. Left on the shelf by choice. A number of suitors, but none appealed. So, what did I say? Invested time into studying, reading, and reading, writing, and numbers. Finances, perhaps. That's how you spell finances. I was saying fiancés. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's enough, right? So, father, ailing, sick, but was the one who moved the family into court, raising reputation. So I think we've got a reputation as unusual. Where Eloise is headstrong, good at that. Oh, you know what? I've just based her off Bridgerton, haven't I? I've just made it Eloise from Bridgerton. But yeah, it's pretty much that. Wanting more, but then maybe stuck in certain ways is judged by how society at the time sees women, even if there is no other suitable leader in or head of household. Maybe I see her a little bit like Eloise from Bridgerton, and she's not called Gentleman Jack, but that sort of Anne Lister character is what I'm thinking here. Like Anne Lister, like being self-assured in the business side of it, less self-assured in her sexuality side, but like isn't going out of her way to actually no, let's do it like an Anne Lister. That'd be great. So let's do that. Let's just write that down for me. Am I gonna sneeze? Bless me, I'm so sorry. So Eloise from Bridgerton and Anne Lister from Gentleman Jack. Yeah, if in doubt, if you can never find, you saw how I struggled to come up with even a name then, and then I was like, oh wait, it is Bridgerton, or it is Gentleman Jack. Just steal it, it's fine. It's your story. Great. Okay, that seems good. Yes, all right. What was the next question then? The next question, let me pop that notion back, is describe your lady. What name does she use when she's around you? Oh no, another name. What did she tell you about herself? Where does she come from? And what does she do on a nightly basis? Do you think it's the truth? Okay. Get back to notion. Alright, what name does she use? What name does she use? I think she uses the name Claudette. Does that work? I don't know if that's a medieval enough name. Claudette. What does she tell you about herself? Well, she is my servant in this relationship. So I think when she interviews me, when I interview her, like, because maybe we go through certain stuff, maybe I've had to have, taking on more of the business, I've had to take on a serving woman who would make sure all my things were in line, and it couldn't be someone, it had to be someone who was able to read and write. And so after maybe a couple of interviews with people, various men of the court had sent my way, and realizing that they probably have more in the beauty department than in the brains department, and making me question about why certain men would send these ideal servants to me. and some of which I think maybe a couple of them are maybe male spies, like various men who are just awful and can't get anything done. So I instantly I terminate the interviews there. And Claudette is the last interview of the day, and she is softly spoken. She has I feel the word plain doesn't describe it well enough, but it's very hard to focus on her when you're talking to her. She, her features, you can remember her voice. That's the thing. It's her voice that encapsulates you to listen. She looks like a very typical woman that you would pass in the street. A serving woman, dressing very plain clothing. She talks about her previous, work and how she worked at various maybe workhouses, collecting data records for managers, and is looking to move to a more private area of work, maybe a bit more stable, maybe a bit more secure, staying with one family rather than working for a number of individuals and different clients, and just have one to have a bit of a place to put the roots down. When I look at her, there's something curious about her. I'm trying to think, the individual that comes to mind when I think about anything to do with vampires is Mia Goth. And Mia Goth is striking as a person, and so I don't think it is she doesn't have those Mia Goth features of the eyes and the lips or anything like that. I think she just looks so unassuming, so normal. Maybe what it is that her face is perfectly symmetrical. The eyes are the same. There's no blemishes, there's no imperfections. Like all human faces, they have something, and so that's the thing when you're looking at her. There's something about it where you look deeply and realize you're staring, and you feel embarrassed as a result of it. So maybe I stare at her a little bit. She has much shorter hair than what is maybe traditional. Maybe cut into two lengths down here, shorter at the top, compared to maybe myself, which would maybe have a plait that's tied up, that sort of medieval style. I don't remember agreeing to give her the job. But considering the other candidates that came that day, it made sense to. It seemed that we would get on. I didn't feel any dislike towards her. She was well spoken, softly spoken. And yeah, I think it just felt right. So yeah. So interview a number failed candidates for personal, oh gosh, can't even spell personal assistant role. Softly spoken, face perfectly symmetrical. Oh gosh, how do I spell symmetrical? Symmetrical. No. Darn it. There we go, symmetrical. What else? Don't remember agreeing. But felt a rapport. Yeah, I think maybe a rapport. Rapport with her. I think maybe I'd seen a lot of men subjects who clearly weren't up to standard and weren't up to snuff. And maybe understandable now that I think about it, why the other businesses of the court were so haphazard in their organisations. And it just, I was just like, nah, I'm good. And then if there was any female candidates or femme-presenting candidates, there was clearly an indication of that they were used for their looks rather than for helping with any organisation or any logistics. So Claudette was the only one that passed the test. Made sense. Where does she come from and what does she do on a nightly basis? She doesn't tell me where she's from. She indicates that she's been, in other businesses and has worked hard and she has credentials. I never asked to see them. I get a sense when I speak to people when they're lying to me or not. And whilst I don't think she's lying to me, I get the sense I don't need to ask. That she's being genuine, that she's done all this work, and that I don't need to know where she's come from. What does she do on a nightly basis? She reads. She says that she often takes herself off to one of these reading book parlours around the town. Like candlelight, a little bit of wine perhaps, and some, I don't want to say snacks, is not the word, but little bits of like meats and stuff like that in a certain place, and she'll read the latest in like short fiction, in non-fiction, maybe some on the newspapers, and just has that quiet moment to herself. And that she requests, as part of her lodgings, when I agreed to give her the role, that she has a key for her room, which I'm happy to oblige with and makes sense for privacy, but also every quarter or so, a book recommendation from me, something that I think she would enjoy, which seems a bit forward, but again, I'm sort of taken off guard by it, so I go, yeah, of course, and don't really think about it till later, going, I don't think I've ever been asked any recommendations before. Again, going to that whole thing of like maybe a court of men, they don't tend not to ask me stuff, and I have to sort of elbows in. Do I think it's the truth? I have no reason to think she would lie. I think so, yeah. Maybe every quarter, maybe every few weeks. And maybe actually on top of that, she's helping me if I hear anything, any court news, to share it with her, as it will help strengthen our, if she knows she can maybe build together, it's sharing resources, sharing things. And I, again, don't really think about it. Or that sharing, that secret sharing things that she's not necessarily privy to. Okay. Okay. Right. Well, let's then go back. There's a bit more, isn't there? Describe your relationship. How did the two of you meet? Oh, I've already done that. Who approached who? What was your first impression of her? Did you talk, flirt, dance? How did you end up being her food? What did your blood taste like to her on that very first night you met? How did you meet the second time? Okay. Okay. Who approached who? Oh, just wait for the train to go past. Sorry, it's quite loud. Okay, so how did the two of you meet? Who approached who? So I've already indicated that we had like an interview or something like that, and she became my personal servant. Who approached who? I said what my first impression of her was. think one night she asked if I would join her at the salon. I think I must have had a particularly hard day at court. I keep saying court, like royalty court. That's what I'm thinking. But maybe my business and stuff. Maybe I don't know if they had solicitors or lawyers back then. But maybe I was sort of someone embroiled in the court of law of some sort. Maybe that's what it is. With the rulings and stuff, it was unusual that I would. But again, sort of looking after my father's affairs. It makes sense that there was all sorts of interests that I'd have to look after with the family business. And maybe one day I came home just incredibly tired and knowing I'd have to work quite hard. And she asked, would I join her at the salon for a night of reading and some drinks just to relax, if that wasn't so bold of her. And again, I don't know why I said yes. Thinking on it now, it would have been, again, the status of it. What if someone would see? But yeah, I saw no harm in it. I enjoy her company. She was very smart, like well spoken, softly spoken. I think we had a very nice, simple meal in a private booth. We spoke late into the night. It was enjoyable. It was illuminating. She hung on to my every word about describing the court stuff. And then when she spoke, it would only be like a line or two. But it was if she had listened to every word I'd said and then just said the right thing, you know, the perfect thing. And I was just sort of taken aback by it, that someone had actually listened. Someone had actually heard what I said and had summed it up so neatly. And then before I knew it, her hand was on my hand and telling me that it was okay and that she understood. And her hand on my hand, her hand so small on my hand, which, again, I'm thinking about, like, you know, the skin is not as tight as it once was. You're 30, it's fine. But hairs are grey, various wrinkles. The talk of being left on said shelf and all that sort of thing. I felt it, a sort of sudden heat, a spark. An excitement filled me I'd never felt before. I was looking down at the hand and seeing it, and I looked up into her eyes. And she kissed me. Again, I don't know how she was so quick, but I felt it, her lips upon my lips. A rush. Static, like it felt almost like a spark. I'd never felt anything like it. I felt paralyzed. Excited. Suddenly, it felt like all senses, all this, the nerves were alive. And she stopped kissing me and started kissing my neck. I don't remember the bite exactly, but the pleasure from it, the feelings. I suddenly remembered various things, like feelings I'd not felt in some time. The dulling of like the work day had really got to me. I could feel like the it felt like I was everywhere at once and nowhere at all. Let me write that down. Oh, and maybe show the notion so people can see it as well. It's a bit small, that notion, isn't it? Hopefully you guys can see it a little bit. Gonna make it a little bit bigger. Oh, that's the wrong one. Typical, huh? Bit bigger. A little bit better. There you go. A little bit bigger. Sorry, I didn't realise how small it was. We spoke about work, work, court, and reading. I spoke for long periods, and she listened and said, summarizing phrases. She indulged my, I guess venting is the best word for it. My hand felt the spark. She kissed me. / bit. What did your blood taste like to her on that very night you met? Often there is talk about when one experiences such intense romantic feelings for the first time, like it's something new and exciting about it. I think she feels that. She notices a loneliness, perhaps, or a person who's not necessarily felt such feelings. Business got in the way. There wasn't the right time or the right person, and she sort of plucks it from me. That sense of first. I'd love it's a strong word. I don't think it's that, but first lust, perhaps. First just intense emotion on these things, There's a sweetness to it. A very sweet, dessert wine, perhaps. That maybe is the best. A sweet, rich dessert wine. I know dessert wines are often light in colour. How did you meet the second time? The next day. It's the worst one-night stand. She comes in, delivers me my breakfast, their morning papers, and doesn't, as if nothing has happened. And it's one of those things where I don't know if the wine got to my head a little bit. I don't know if anything happened, but I definitely remember the kiss. And I know I enjoyed it. So I don't mention it. I don't wish to break that sudden we need to think about this now. We need to discuss it now. Because whilst I'm happy for people to have questions about myself and my, that's on me, but not her. So suddenly I become very protective of this. And she maybe looks a little younger than me, so mid-20s. And so there's that worry of an older woman preying on a vulnerable person. That's at the forefront of my mind, although presumably as much later as it will get, that won't be the case. I think maybe we end that second meeting. She goes, would there be anything else? And I pause and I say, rather than going out tonight for your nightly readings, maybe we should do it at home instead. Work late. We can have it in the parlour. And she smiles. And she says, I'd love that. I would love the company. All right, what's the next? You know she's a vampire and that she feeds on you. How did you tell? Or how did she tell you? How do you feel about it? Do you let her do it reluctantly or happily? Why did she choose you as her favourite? And how long have you known her? Okay, so let's go back to Notion. How did she tell you? I don't think she told me. I think it's super bloody obvious. Oh, I'll move down a little bit so people can see. Super obvious. How do I feel about it? I mean, I don't know how to react. As a woman of like rational thought and someone that does a lot of reading about scientific developments and workings about the here and now and learning stuff, I guess it doesn't surprise me that there could be supernatural stuff, but there's no way I can explain it. I don't think I know the term vampire. I think I call it something else. I think it's something else in my head. So I feel a lot of things about it. I feel like confused, as it doesn't necessarily fit with my version of reality. Or the world, even. Do you let her do it reluctantly or happily? I think that's, I don't know. I think I'm not resistant to it. Again, there's that feeling of, I know the feelings, that intense emotion is so strong and I can feel it. I definitely yearn for it, but I don't want to seem as greedy and pitiful as an addict would do. I think she would realise that too. She doesn't do it every time we meet. Often, she will only do it after I have had a bad day. Maybe she's more of an energy vampire than I think about it. Like, she draws on the sort of grievances and the annoyances of the day, and knowing that she can fix it, perhaps. It's hard to tell. But as soon as she touches my hand, I know there's no going back, and I relish it. That's the word, relish it. Why did she choose you as her favourite? I think it becomes obvious that on the nights that she doesn't spend with me, she clearly spends it with others. And easily she could go somewhere else. She could find some other employment. Again, I get the sense from her regular sort of movement of CVs and stuff that she's had to move and pray and live and survive. But she doesn't move from me, and it combines with that next question, how long have you known it? I don't think she moves for several years. So by the time I think maybe 10 years we're together. Over the course of 10 years. So I'm getting older, but she doesn't get necessarily older. No one seems to comment on it, though. I think she just stays with me. Now, we know, as players, that that's probably because of she sees it as a convenience. Like, this is a job security thing. And she likes it. There's a chance to rest. But I guess I know that, the feelings and stuff, I get it. It's almost like a mutual back and forth, that we need each other for different things. But what we have is not love. A partnership is what it is. At least that's what we have it now, what we've established now. And I think 10 years. 10 years. This goes on for. Like, as I'm thinking, like, I want to be a long time. So yeah, I think I'm well into my 40s. By the time we start this game. Okay. And then I think there's one final bit. Oh, excellent. Excellent. So we have, describe your feelings for her. We kind of got on that a little bit. Do you adore her? Do you fear her? How quickly do you begin to prioritize her over anyone else in your life? And then it says optional, describe her feelings for you at the start of the game. You can pull a card, or you can see what we've got. But we've got what it is, which is that you are convenient to her, a stable source of food that can never leave. So let's do this then. I'll just copy this into our Notion. Oops, go back up and we'll slow down. So do you adore her? Do you fear her? How quickly do you begin to prioritize her over everything else? I think automatically I start prioritizing her. Like, if we've agreed to have a late night supper together, I will do that over anything. Like, even if my father asks for me to call on him, I will make sure that I send a letter of an apology to him. I think any bits of court, if suddenly I get a missive from her while she's doing her other duties, to be like, shall we have supper later? Any plans I have cancelled, I cancel it instantly. I don't think she necessarily asks for anything necessarily, although we'll come to find that in play. I don't fear her. I think I'm past the point of fearing, but I don't necessarily adore her either. I think it's what I like, the feelings, how she makes me feel. Maybe it's more selfish than anything else. For this whole life, I've done stuff for my father, for the family, etc., and now it's a chance for me, and someone's giving me that, and that is her. That is Claudette. So I do it selfish, maybe even destructive reasons. I would say that on nights, or several nights, if we go without her feeding on me, without her hand on my hand and touching me, I feel the loss, I feel the sudden withdrawal, but it's never more than a couple of nights. And I know that, and therefore I get excited. That prolonged sort of not engagement with each other it makes the feelings so much more exciting, more vivid, more intense. And straight away, I prioritize her over everything else. I think, socially speaking, I don't think there's anything she's done yet to affect the business or my interests at court. I think she's too smart for that. And then, as we said, she sees me as a convenience. So it's very muddy, this, isn't it? Already it's very muddy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Dear, oh dear. All right. And there you go. And that is all we need to start to play. There you go. And yeah, as I said, oh, sorry, I always forget to show. So yeah, so we could have done it so we could pull out the pentacles and whatever, but I like that we just used the setting and just did it from there. So yeah, so wands indicate that you know she loves you, but unsure in what way. Cups is your presence inspires her, bringing a spark to her existence. Pentacles, you're just a convenience to her, a stable source of food that could never leave. And swords, you have no idea what she feels for you. Your feelings for her are so overwhelming, it's difficult for her to read her. So that's what we would do if we weren't using one of those settings. So there you go, that's us started. Well, friends, let's take a quick break and come back. Ooh, I don't know why I did that. And come back in about 5-10 minutes and see where we go from there. That's all we need for it. I'm very excited. Yes, let me go back to the main cam. Exciting. So, like I said, back in roughly 5 to 10 minutes to continue our story. So please go hydrate, move about a bit if you feel so inclined. If you're going to hydrate, maybe use water and blood. Get those hearts really beating with the moving about stuff. And we'll see you back here to continue our story. Much love, friends. We'll see you back in 5 if I can find the BRB stream. Okay, bye. All right. Hello and welcome back to this stream of A Rush of Blood by Julia Cartes on the EUphoria channel. Rush of Blood is a solo journaling RPG where we will assume the role of a vampire's favourite feeding spirit or blood bag, depending on your preference. As we'll come back from the break, I'm just going to say any content warnings at the start. Obviously, vampires have a lot of stuff to do with content warnings. Excuse me. Anything to do with blood, descriptions of blood, possibly a bit of gore, definitely romantically charged relationships and all that good stuff. So just putting those at the top of this particular session. So we welcome back from the break. I hope you had a lovely one. I did. We are going back in. We've created our character now of Eloise, not Elodine. Sorry, I was about to say Elodine there. And her servant, Claudette. The setting is in medieval France, and I am a lady of the court, maybe to do something with law or just maybe some sort of business interest of some sort with the family. And I have a servant called Claudette, who is my vampire who feeds on me. That's all I'm going to do in terms of the setup and that recap. I think that's enough for us to go in. I think the only thing I was going to say is that we've known each other about 10 years or so. And had this ongoing relationship for about 10 years. So again, we'll do the prompts as and when they come, like again, to explore this whole sort of narrative. I will mention any content warnings as they come up. And if you are interested to try out this sort of RPG for yourself, go check out A Rush of Blood over on juliasitch.io store. There'll be a link to it probably below, but it'll also be in the chat as well. All right, team, I'm going to go over to my notes. I'm going to make sure my Adobe is up and ready to go, and then I'm going to switch over to, there we go, it's worked, hooray, there's the journaling prompts as well. Okay, so I seem to remember it said like we have to shuffle, so I'm going to shuffle my tarot cards and then I appreciate I picked up really big, like super big tarot cards. That means it's impossible to shuffle them well. I'm not the best shuffler in the world. It's fine. All right. So that's them shuffled. I'm going to pick the first card and we'll begin. Ooh, interesting. We've got a major arcana first off. We have the Empress. There you go. There's a good look on it there. This is a very interesting card, I think. Like, again, these are all Cthulhu-esque cards. Hopefully Twitch didn't see a lot of what was on that card. I just looking at it just now. I think it's fine. They don't look like boobs at all. They look like udders. So we'll go with that. So the Empress is what the first card I'm going for. So it's in the Major Arcana. So let's have a look-see. Number 3. Oh no, it's not. I've got the Empress for number 3. Oh, there we go. The Empress is number 4 in that one. That's weird. You kiss your lady. Is this the first time it's happened? Why do you do it? You love her, you desire her, you're overwhelmed by how good her teeth feel in your neck. Are you just drunk? Does she react? Does she kiss you back or push you away? How is this the best kiss you have ever had? And what happens after it? And then we have an action we can use. You may ask your lady to turn you. So again, action things means we would roll a d6, and the higher number of the higher the number is, depending on if it's over our tokens. I think that's right. Or is it the lower? I can't remember. The failure and stuff is a bit. We can go up to that. I don't think we'll take the action though. I think it's way too soon to ask her to turn me because it was our first thing. But there, you kiss your lady is the first question. Oops, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put it into my Notion. So we have it there. So this is the Empress. And I'll make sure you folks can see my Notion. I might make it even bigger so people can see, because I appreciate I can see it fairly big. That's the wrong one. 1 second. Sometimes you don't change things. There we go. I'm going to move it over ever so slightly. And then we're going to make it a little bit. There we go. Oh, we can see that, hey. All right. So let's go the Empress. You kiss your lady. Is this the first time it's happened? I don't think it's the first time it's happened. I think I described in that initial meeting that she kissed me. And that's how she encourages these feelings like that. It's almost like how I see it. Me, Fiona the player. A vampire's kiss first helps sort of enamor its prey, let's say. And so it, again, into that sort of like, almost like paralyzing state, that's sort of like a euphoric state, so to speak. And then she bit me. And I think ever since then, she's always done it. She's the one that's kissed me or made the first move first. I've never made the first move, or I wait patiently, like an obedient dog. But then this time, I act first. I kiss her first. I pour out wine. She's a vampire that can drink and imbibe food, but not much, for it makes her sick. And I think one night I don't know. I don't know what changes. The day was no different. I think, if anything, the only thing that changes is that I ask her how her day was. And I ask, no, you always ask about me. What about yourself? Why do you, how was your day? What happened? And she's sort of taken aback by it. And she finds it difficult to talk about it. And maybe there's a sense of awkwardness that I've done something wrong. I shouldn't have asked. She gets up from the table to put away the dirty plate and stuff on the side, and I just follow her, watch her go to the side. She's putting away the cutlery and stuff, and suddenly I'm on my feet and I follow her. Not in a aggressive way, I just follow her. And as she turns around, I'm sort of there with the same height. I just kiss her. I suddenly take action. I do it because it's just I don't know. We are partners in this. There's something about it, and maybe for once I've made all these decisions that work in our previous sort of little excursions. I let her take control. And whilst obviously I benefit from this, the feelings of euphoria and so intense things in my heart and my head, and that sensations, I want it, and I want me to engage in it. So that's what I do. How does she react? I think she pushes me away. This is the first time I've kissed her. Like, I've done the act to kiss. She's not been in control. For the moment that our lips touch, like that same spark is there, that same sensation is there. There's sort of pins and needles. It's almost like a static shock a little bit. So maybe I feel like that's why she pushes me away. And she doesn't continue. She just leaves it at that. Takes the dishes and says, "Good night," and leaves. But I feel it. A sense of like power, a sense of like, I wanted something. I showed her I wanted something. I wanted her to kiss me. So, let's do these notes. Not the first time. I wanted to make a move as she has been making all the moves so far. Pushes me away. It's sweet and I think even cold. I think her lips are cold next to mine. Okay. We don't need to do the action, I don't think. I'm just going to double check. We'll go back up. I mean, it's always good to double check in case you've just joined us for the stream as well, like what we could do for action. So I could ask my lady to turn me, but let me look at the and the relationship chatter, of course. I think. Well, let's talk about this first. Do we think our action, what we've done, do we think it's changed the relationship tracker? We're currently on 0. I don't think so. I don't think it would have changed too much. I've not lied or betrayed or collaborated. No, so I've not done anything. I've not done anything like that. So I think it's fine. Or defended her or took care of her when she needed her most at the cost of her own safety or health. No. So I think we're okay. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make sure I put a tracker. So let me put. I'll put it here, almost at the bottom. You guys can't see it just now because it's on the Notion page, but I'm just putting relationship tracker 0. I'll put that first. Just above the Empress page. So that's fine. There we go, the action. So we have 4 tokens. And so the success would be if I rolled a 1d6 and I got between 2 and 6. A failure on a 1. I'm not going to use the action. I don't wish to be turned so early. But there you go. So I'll have to come back because I will absolutely forget that over and over again. So there you go. All right. There you go. So that's the first prompt. Ooh, I'll go back. Okay. And then it was discarding. So I'm going to discard the card. Put it off to one side. Hopefully you didn't see the others. And I'm going to shuffle again. It says to shuffle after every time. And I don't think I need to get a court card in this either, so that's fine. Okay, you hear me awkwardly shuffle a huge set of cards. Most unsexy shuffling of cards ever. Okay, there we go. One more done, and actually, you know what? I'll split the deck. Oh, there we go. Split it a few times, and we'll try again. Okay, ready? Next card. Next prompt. Oh, it's another Major Arcana card. It's the Magus card. It says number 1. I realise I haven't checked it to make sure this is a normal deck of so it might be something different on here. So I will look through. Actually, you know what I could do? I could just search. So I don't think it's the Fool. I have to look through the Hermit, Wheel of Fortune, Justice, the Hanged Man, Magus, I don't know. I will double check. The World, no. Right, I'm okay. This is why maybe check your deck. Check your deck or you wreck yourself. Let me see if there's a Chariot, Strength. Do the Hierophant. High Priestess, the Magician? Maybe that's the Magus. So I will look what that means. Do a quick Google. I assume it would be Magician. Magician. Also known as the Magus or the Juggler. Alright, there you go, number 2. You run into an old mentor or someone who inspired you in the past. What did this person teach you? How does this woman... there you go, that shows my bias. How does this person remind you of yourself from the past? Did your life go the way you wanted it to go back then? Do you change anything to align more with your past self? Okay, so this indicates to me that getting a person... from the court cards. So what I'll do, let me type this onto the thing first. So that's the Magus next. Magus. And then that's the prompt. All right. So let me... Okay. Right. What are we feeling? We have swords. We have... I was going to say, we've got... I've mixed them into knights, queens, kings, and pages. That's what I've done. Okay, so this is a mentor. Now, what did it say about mentors? Let's go back and have a look. Sorry, a little bit jumping around, but I think this is important. Court cards, there we go. So I don't think it's pages. So we've got pages. Pages are strangers. I don't think they're strangers. So I'm going to put pages to one side. Where are you, pages? You're hiding from me. Okay, pages are to one side just now. I don't think it's family members either. So I'm going to put the queens to one side as well. And I don't think it's vampires other than your character. I think it's knights. So we've got the knights of the swords, pentacles, cups, and wands. So what I'll do, we'll use a knight, and I'm going to shuffle the 4 cards, makes it a little bit easier. And they're outlined on page 54. Okay, well let's jump to page 54 then. Queens, kings, maybe there we go, friends. Okay. All right, ready? I've picked the king. No, the Knight of Cups. Your childhood crush. Oh, did you ever date? Is she seeing someone right now? Well. Okay, let me copy that into our little notes. Oh, this is delicious, isn't it? Okay. Back to our notion. Okay, so you guys should see that now. So we pulled, just to clarify, the Magnus or Magus, and then I pulled the Knight of Cups to indicate who that individual was. So let me just make sure, take my cards, put them to one side because we discard them. So I run into an old mentor, someone who inspired you in the past, and this is my childhood crush. Did you ever date? No. I think it was an individual who was another daughter of one of the businesses, a professional business owner's daughter. Give me 1 second. My phone keeps going off. I'm just gonna turn it off. Where are you? Focus. There we go. So, you run into an old mentor or someone who inspired you in the past, and this is your childhood crush. Did you ever date? No. Is she seeing someone right now? I think no and no. So this person, I think, is someone who is a individual who is probably the daughter of another rival business owner and stuff like that. And so when we used to go to the royal court or balls, I think we would hang out together. Her name, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of any names now. This is the problem. I'm so bad with names. I'm just looking for anything. I think her name, Anya is her name. The daughter of a rival businessman, or business of the court. And we would hang out together. Same age, similar ages, similar interests, books, She married. I never dated her. She's married now. A number of children. And she seems happy. We bump into each other. We bump into each other in the street as I'm going off to work, and she insists that she treats me to some sort of high tea or luncheon in the following day. And because it's in the day, I accept, as to have a lunch away from court. And she asks me all about me, but it's so different to how Claudette does. Anya, it's more of a back and forth. It's more of a sharing thing. We drink so much tea. Oh, so much tea and little macarons, if they had those in medieval France. And we have a whole range of stuff, and it's just, it feels so good. It feels like the olden days where we used to just laugh to each other. I also ask her about how her life is going, and she talks about all of her children and how her partner treats her well and how she's happy and settled. That's the word she uses, settled. And she seems happy. What did this person teach me? I think she taught me to read. Like, I used to hide it from my father in the early days. And she noticed that I would scribble stories and could read them. And so she would sneak out to meet me on various promenading when father was doing business. And she taught me how to read, and we could write letters to each other. She has, like, slight auburn hair. Not fiery red or anything, just a slight when the light hits it. And she has, like, a little dimple in her cheek. And I always see it. But then father got ill, and I had to suddenly step up. I had to stop the writing, the letters, as we fell out of touch a little bit. She reminds me of a girl who could create stories, who could write and make incredible worlds, had that spark of creativity. And I miss that quite a bit. Try and give a bit of space. Did your life go the way you wanted it to go back then? No. As I said, father was ill, and I stepped up. If I hadn't stepped up, then our whole lives would have been uprooted. And I lost touch with Anya. Did your life go the way? That's a tricky question. Yes and no, I think, is the answer to that one. I got accepted as a woman. A well-read woman. You know? Educated. It wasn't a scary prospect, but then I lost the creativity. I lost the spark. Do you change anything to align with your past self more? I think once the supper or the lunch is done, she insists that we must keep in touch. You must tell me about your writings if you still keep them up. And I think that evening I start writing again. I start writing short stories. And when I put together enough, I send them to her to give to her children or to read to her children. Stories of fairies trying to save their worlds, dwarves mining under the mountains, heroes and villains, good versus evil. I don't write about Claudette or vampires or anything to do with that. I keep that hidden. To read to her children. Okay. All right. That was good. I think that's everything. There's a little pang of regret seeing maybe something that could have been. If I had acted, if I had made the first move, I don't think it would have been pushed back. I don't think it would have been... I think it would have been reciprocated. That's the word I'm thinking of. Oh, there you go, though. Nice. Oh, these prompts are really good, aren't they? All right, I'm going to try and shuffle these cards again. And then we'll cut. And then we'll pick the first card up. Go back to the prompts. There we go. What was it, 22 where we started? There we go. All right, next card, the third prompt. Ooh, the 6 of Cups. I have is a minor arcana. Alrighty, so we're just gonna quickly. Suit of Wands, Cups, 6 of Cups. You meet up with your family or close friends. You come home to your lady waiting for you. What did you reminisce about with your family? What do you miss from your childhood? How does your lady react? Is she glad you're keeping in touch with your loved ones? She no longer has her own, after all. And then it says at the side, court, knight or queen. Interesting. Okay. That's so interesting after that last one we got with the Magus. Magus? Who knows? All right, let me... So this was the 6 of Cups. I'm just writing this in our Notion. And then let's go to... All right, I think for this one, Queens makes sense. We've just done a King. Sorry, didn't do a King. We did a Knight. So we won't do that. And so let me see Queens. I'm going to shuffle the Queen cards again. Okay. Queen of Cups. Ah, parental figure. What's your relationship with them? Does your relationship with your lady remind you of your parents' relationship with someone else? That's interesting, isn't it? All right, hang on. Putting cards aside. Copy and paste into my Notion. Right, get rid of. So 6 of Clubs. You meet up with your family or close friends. You come home to your lady waiting for you. What did you reminisce about your family? What do you miss from your childhood? How does your lady react? Is she glad you're keeping in touch with your loved ones? She no longer has her own, after all. Queen of Cups we have is a parental figure. What's your relationship with them? Does your relationship with your lady remind you of your parents' relationship with someone? Let's start with that second thing. There's a Queen of Cups. I think it's like a great aunt or something. Great aunt. I keep thinking of flowers when I think of great aunt. Great Aunt Lily. Done. So I think, yeah, she's probably a sister of my grandmother or grandparents of some sort. And what do we do? So we meet up. I think there is, you know what I think happens? I think, as my father is ill, and has been for some time, he hasn't lost his senses or anything like that. He is just a little bit more acutely aware of things, and whilst he can't move as much, maybe can't say as much anymore, he has enlisted the help of a, I don't know, like a solicitor or some sort of, I promise I keep going, rather than medieval France, I keep doing like 1800s. That's what in my head I keep going to, but maybe there's some way that we have like some sort of way of just sorting out who gets what when my father passes. And he calls my family together to, not like a party, but just as a reunion, and to go over affairs of state. So maybe it is some sort of like, party's not the right word. What's the word I'm thinking of? It's a reunion of some sort. To go over the... I was not looking forward to this at all. Like, of course I would not go against my father's wishes, but a lot of the cousins and uncles, it's mostly men, male-presenting folk. The women are at home looking after family or ailing sick ones. It's just me and my great aunt, who herself has chosen a life of I don't know what the bad word is, but like it's a solid not solidarity, like a solitary, there you go, solitary life out of choice. It's a good relationship. I think seeing a room filled with men who just talk, don't listen, and then seeing my great aunt Lily, who's obviously getting on in years, they look to me, look to the drink, look back to me, and I grab 2 cups and come over and sit with her, pleasantries and all that sort of thing. But often she loses her thought and chews on various, like, she doesn't have gum. I'm thinking what she has. Like maybe she chews on some sort of tobacco type thing, perhaps, and just really eats it around. Yeah, I think medieval France is not what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking, definitely like higher society stuff, so maybe I'll change that. She spits into a spittoon. Whenever she talks about my father, obviously her great nephew, or maybe her nephew, it'll be her nephew, wouldn't it? There's a kindness there. And like, there's like, well, she doesn't say in too many words, but it feels like she understands a lot more. The other men at this party are do. It's helpful because she gives me the courage to stand up and conduct the initial sort of welcome in the affairs of state. And to be honest, when I hold a crowd and I talk, people do listen. I guess it's that sort of feeling when it's your personal life as well as your public life coming together. We talk about, obviously, the childhood and how, do you remember before you made the big move to the city and all that sort of thing? I don't think I miss anything. I barely remember it. Like, when I moved, I must have been like 4 or 5. My childhood crush, Anya, I think I met when I was like 12, 13, so starting to understand my feelings a bit more. So I barely remember my childhood. All I remember is knowing I wasn't allowed to read, or it would be unseemly for me to read. The party runs late, and I can feel it, like little, like hackles on the back of my neck, how I'm keeping her waiting. We spend most evenings together, and I did tell her that I'd have this event that I would not be able to postpone, and she said it would be fine, but it is very late now. I did hope to see her before bed. I managed to say my goodbyes, and the last of the gentlemen leave on the carriages, and I retire to my rooms. And I open my door, and she's there, sat with 2 cups with wine in them. The candles are burnt quite low. She looks up, like unblinkingly like a cat, and asks me how it went, in a very neutral tone, very softly spoken, as we always said. I tell her as truthfully, and I talk about my great Aunt Lily, and I talk about the stuff. But this time, I feel it. I can see she's not interested. She doesn't care. She doesn't care for my family. I stop halfway through and I apologize for wittering on and for keeping her waiting. She smiles and I see the little sharp fangs. She says I must forgive her. It is almost a bit of jealousy, even though I gave her notice. She knows that things are different. And I must forgive her. And I say there's nothing to forgive. I sort of almost fall over myself to say that she wasn't in the wrong. Maybe it's because I am suddenly worried that I will not feel her lips against my neck this evening. It's almost like I've been using this evening, like pushing through it and being about to get a treat, a gift. She stands and says she is tired, and I obviously say, of course, I did not mean to keep you waiting, and keep apologizing. And then she bends low and kisses me. A short, simple kiss on the lips. And says, I hope tomorrow I will not be waiting as late. And leaves. I think I take that to mean that I should not make her wait late again. So I endeavour to do so. Like, cancel any appointments and stuff. I feel so not scared. What am I feeling? I feel, I don't know, unsure. Ooh, okay. End of that prompt. How are we doing, folks? Is this what you guys wanted? Hang on, that's the wrong pile. Okay. Let's go back to... Alright, next prompt. I believe we're going through these prompts fairly okay. What, we're about 40 minutes in? Yeah, we're doing okay. I kind of don't want it to end. You know, I feel like, obviously, I know there are ways we can skip cards and stuff. I actually don't feel like the need to skip a card yet. I know skipping the card, spending a token, that's about repressing memories and stuff. But so far, I've kind of enjoyed these. All right, and then split the pack again. Okay. All right. Ooh, another minor arcana with a 3 of wands. 3 of wands. Okay, let's go through them. Don't look, spoilers. Wands. Oh, 3 of wands, there we go. So, it says, 3 of wands. You get a new opportunity in life, a new job, a potential move, a sponsorship. What does it require? How would it impact on your relationship with your lady? Why do you refuse? Oh, that's delicious. I like that. Delicious. All right, let me pop this in my Notion. That's the 3 of wands. Okay. Toby, there we go. And then opportunity in life. I think Anya gets in touch. She says that due to certain businesses of her parents, again, she never got involved in the business side due to her marriage. But she comes forth with an offer. Her family's business is in financial dire straits and they need someone to sort of help look at the books and all that sort of thing. And could I recommend anyone, or maybe could I step in to a certain extent? Maybe I do a bit of bookkeeping on the sides. Her family's estate is out of Paris, out in the more suburban place. Maybe it takes an hour or so to get there by cart or horseback or carriage. Carriage is the word I'm thinking of. So it could involve like long commutes and being late at night and stuff, or just staying at a family house. And yet, says there's no pressure to take the job or anything like that. Just it was so lovely to see you. It was so lovely for us to meet again. Hang on, let me. Offers job to help family business. Keeping spell out in the suburbs. Burbs, I think that's it. That's how you spell suburbs. Oh, just 2 B's. Okay. She says that all expenses would be paid. It would be for a couple of months, perhaps. The reason she asked me over any other individuals is because I'm her friend and I have a good head for these sorts of things. I do so well, again, that sort of like that chance meeting we had. How would it impact your relationship with your lady? Well, I'd be away for many nights of the week. Maybe only coming home once a fortnight. So I wouldn't see her as often as I would like, or maybe she would like. I think the pinnacle thing comes because we meet late in my rooms, at the table in the parlour, with the 2 chairs and the drinks and the little sweetmeats. Claudette serves, sits down next to me after I've sat, and asks how my day has been. And there was a moment where I struggled to tell her. But I do. I've already told her about Anya, meeting her. Maybe she always knew what my feelings were to Anya. And when I mention, and I say it in such simple facts that, she'd offered me a job and what it would entail and be away, there's a pause. And Claudette just looks into my eyes. And I feel myself say it. Obviously, I'm not taking it. But it's almost as if I'm not the one saying it. It's my voice, but it's not me. I don't choose to say those words. Because I am just so mesmerized by her eyes. And when I say it, I'm not taking it. It's a simple nod of acknowledgement. and I feel almost like a release, as if I suddenly realised I'd been gripping the chair, like the armrests, quite tightly as I'd been talking, and I suddenly realised maybe I was very tense about telling her. But it didn't seem like an issue until I realised I was telling her, and then that I would be away. And it feels like a big pressure, a big release has come from my chest, from my shoulders, and I let go of the armrest. And I blink. She leans forward, smiles, and taps my hand. And she says, I would hate it for you to be so far away from me. So I'm glad you see. I'm glad you understand. And then she feeds on me again. I think I just send a simple note to Anya, apologising, saying my father is too ill, and I cannot, for the foreseeable short term, leave his side and leave the city. And I can recommend a number of solicitors or the like that could help, which she gratefully accepts. But there is a pit inside me. Like, for the first time, like a tug at seeing my friend again and my lady. Whoa. This game's good, isn't it? I hope everyone else is enjoying it as much as I am. Alright, let's do a few more. How are we doing on time? Oh, about 50 minutes in. Okay, I feel good. I feel good. Probably do a couple more. There's my... Where it is? It's there. Alright. Shuffling my cards very badly. And then we'll cut. We'll just do one cut this time. Ooh, another minor arcana. We've got 2 of stars. 2 of stars. Let's have a look, shall we? 2 of wands. Okay, that's that. Hang on. Do the old... Oh, you guys can't see. That's hilarious. I tried. No, we're not doing cups. Oh, pentacles, sorry, not stars, pentacles. Shows how bad of a tarot reader I am. 2 of pentacles. We've had like 2s and 3s, haven't we? You had 6, 2, and 3. You're called back to do something that you used to do before you met your lady. You realise you're quite good at it still. How does it make you feel? Do you want to go back to this thing? Okay. Hang on, let's copy. Two of Pentacles. There we go. Now what on earth could that be? I'm still good at it. Again, I appreciate I've said medieval France, and I've clearly not read that note at all. But I think the thing that comes to my mind, and I know this sounds really silly, I think shooting. I think like hunting. I have a feeling that when I was growing up and I started taking on the business, you know, to get in with the other businessmen and the sons of all these big people of industry, I think I'd had to go and be a part of like the various social functions. So it was less balls and promenading, it was more horseback riding and hunting. So I think I got invited on a shoot after a certain successful project, some successful endeavor worked out for a work partner I had, and they said, let's celebrate by going hunting. You remember? Eloise, you used to hunt? So yeah, I went on a hunting trip I got up very early in the morning. We did a full day of hunting, and I left before the final shoot because I had to get home. And I think because I've not been seen hunting in many, many years, there is definitely, you know, the groups of people, as the only probably woman there, there's definitely some talk, there's definitely some mention of something. And I ignore it, as always. And we do some, you know, pheasant hunting, maybe some clay pigeon shooting, maybe that's it, clay. I appreciate all my eras and settings are all over the place now. But it feels so satisfying to be good at something and to show up a couple of the people. Yeah, it feels good. It feels the gun in my hand as I'm shooting these animals. And the dogs go and pick them up and stuff, and you know, taking the shot out of them. I don't know. It just reminds me of that first couple of times that I was shooting with my father and shooting with a number of his friends, learning to aim and being quite a good shot. What I don't like is the comments, the snideness, because I'm an older woman now, seemingly single, on the shelf by choice. There are certain words used, you know, the least worst being spinster. Comments about my sexuality, as all gruff, horrific individuals at these things would probably take as a weakness of my character. There's rumours of me being seen with my servant a lot more, and how I only prefer the company of women. But I don't let that bother me because my CV stands for itself. My reputation, my family reputation stands for itself. So when I not win hunting, there's no way of doing that, but when I get some really good shots off and have to leave, I hear some more snideness, like, oh, she's running back to her. And I hear it. Obviously, they don't know the full extent of it. And I don't to an extent, but there's a tightness in my chest, and knowing that this world, being invited was a courtesy, but I don't think I will return, and I don't think I would come back. I don't want to go back to this place where I will never be good enough for the old men and young men of industry and industrialization. and vow never to return. Okie dokie. Ooh. Oh god, that's not how you spell whisper at all, is it? Sorry for everyone else who's like, your grammar, your thing. It's fine. I get the gist of what I'm trying to say. Okay. Wish I could. That's the one thing I wish with these games, is that it taught you methods of how to shuffle and how not to hurt your cards. Because it's the thing, I'm sure people know this. You shouldn't touch another person's tarot cards, get you ones that speak to you, etc. So of course I've got loads of tarot cards, so many, and I went for these ones because they're nice and big, and I've never used them before, and I really love the artwork on them, but they are a bugger to shuffle. So, all right, and then let's cut the deck, split the deck. Look at me with my terrible terminology. Okay, let's go back to 22. Okay. Next prompt. Ooh. This is the High Priestess. I'm just gonna cover something a little, just gonna cover it a little bit there. But yeah, we've got the High Priestess as the card we have drawn. A Major Arcana card. I'm just covering that a little bit because there's a tiny bit, a little bit of a boob. High Priestess. Here we go. Whoop. Oh, heck. You guys reading this? Oh, your lady shares a deeply held, upsetting secret with you. It is related to a great pain she suffered in the past. What is it that happened to her? In what way did she brutally respond to that suffering? Do you hate her for it? How do you feel about the trust she puts in you? Okay, all right. Let's copy and paste that. Okay, High Priest. Just copying that down into the Notion. I think, what do we think? Should we do... I think we should draw another... I think we should draw another card. I think we should do a king, like a court card, and that could be a vampire that's not her. I think it'd be cool to get one of those in. So we've got, that's, what was that? That was 50, 55, so it's 53 because I took out the things. There we go. So we've got knights. So, okay. I'm gonna, again, just shuffle the cards. And then I'm gonna pick this card. King of Swords. Oh my god, that is such a cool bit of artwork as well. Again, it probably won't show up very well, but look at that. There's like spider-like insectoid legs and like wings holding like a sort of like a brain in a jar in the center there. Oh, okay. So that's King. King of Swords. A local vampire leader. Do they know your lady? What do they tell you about vampire society and its politics? Okay, so I think I don't get told directly. It's more of inferred by this story. I think it's early on in our partnership. I enter my rooms, and there she is as always. She indicates for me to sit, as always, with the 2 drinks. And as I do, she doesn't sit. She asks me, what day is it today? And I tell her the date. I find it odd that she needs to know. She's very good at organising, and she won't know what today is. And I say, I don't know. And she says it's been 1 year exactly since I've been in your service. And I almost say, and I yours. But I don't. She holds my gaze and says, I need you to know something. And I went, of course. Anything. And she tells me of how she came to be a vampire. She doesn't use the word vampire. How she was turned. She tells me as she stands. Ooh, I think I'm going to use one of my tokens. I think I'm going to use one of my tokens. So I'm down to 3 tokens. So I have repressed what she tells me about how she's turned. How she turned. Oh, sorry, I'm not. I don't keep all the details, but it is one of horror, horrificness, to do with a leader, the local vampire leader in Paris. She indicates to me that she is an independent. She doesn't say the word spawn, but it definitely you feel it in the air. So independent spawn. She talks about her family dying in front of her because of her, and that she was picked to live because Okay, I don't want to describe it out in too detail. I think I know where it goes, but again, I'm just being aware of it being a stream that other people are watching. I think something happens with her family. A payment is missed or 2. Something, she denies a favour given to her by a local lad. That sort of vibe. And these factors all can combine and factor in on an attack on her household when she's just a teenager. Family is brought out. The farm? I want to say a farm? Yeah, let's say a farm. It's burnt to the ground. Animals are killed. Mutilated. Her family does not survive. They are mobbed and butchered and killed because of her denying a date, a proposal, a suitor, denying a suitor, that's what I'm thinking of. And said suitor, drunk, with his groups of brothers and friends from the local families come, and I won't go into it. Needless to say, when the local vampire leader chanced upon her, she was left for dead. Broken. He took pity on her. Gave her a second chance. This suffering. All because she said no. She spends the next 20 years hunting down every single one of those men. Killing them. Killing their partners, should they marry. Their children. Their dogs. In the most horrific ways possible. I just want to say perpetrator. That's not how you spell it. Perpetrator. She tells me in such horrific detail, and I sit there, unable to move. That out-of-body experience, feeling again. Her telling me monstrous things that she did to men, women, and children. I don't hate her. This is the longest time she's spoken for so long. As soon as she starts, it sort of spills out of her as if the secret was bottled up inside her for so long. I can't move, but I start to cry. A single tear falling down my cheek. She finishes her story. And she comes and kneels beside me, looking up at me as these tears start to flow. Sort of come out of the haze a little bit. She asks me, do I forgive her? Will I stay with her? I can't speak. She puts her hand on my knee, and it feels like I can move again. The tears silent. Still continue. And I say I do. I've never seen her so vulnerable before. I don't know how she could keep such a thing inside her and not. I don't know how you would tell anyone. She raises up and licks a tear off my cheek before feeding on me once again, late into the night. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. How are we doing, chat? We're doing alright? Yeah. Damn. It's fucking brutal. I don't think she ever gives a name to the vampire leader, the person that turns her. I think, if anything, a kind stranger. Do they know your lady? What do they tell you about vampire society and its politics? I actually think she calls them a kind stranger that had some leadership and doesn't go into too much detail about it, or I can't remember because I've repressed it. But I think, if anything, vampiric society takes choices very seriously, like who to turn very seriously. That's what we learned from this. Take choices to be turned very seriously. As it's not a matter of like if they want it or not, but also if the body can withstand it. I also think what I gather from it is that it's lonely. People are wanderers, strangers, and meeting with others is not frowned upon, but is dangerous. The more activity of a vampire, of that happening, the more likely people will suss it out. Okay, so my question is, do we think the relationship changes? Does it get a +1 if she's vulnerable? I haven't protected her against my... I don't... Well, I don't know. Let's read back on it. Don't look at the endings. No. Okay. So let's see what it says. It says, has a soft spot for you. She will take your advice and trust you. Any action roll is considered to be a level higher. She's more likely to turn you, likely to make you independent, will lower her guard around you. If finds that you defended or took care of her when she needed it the most at a cost of your own safety. No, again, I don't think I've done anything. The only active thing I did was like kiss her, and that wasn't really part of that. So I'm going to say no. Still on 0. Ooh, it's very intense though. I hope everyone's doing okay at home. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really feeling it. I don't think we're going to finish it today, which is not the end of the world. I think what we'll do, about an hour and 20 minutes in, we'll do one more prompt. Okay? And then we'll end the stream. People want to keep on doing this, we can absolutely keep on doing this. But you gotta let us know. That's how it works. Okay. Let's do the final prompt. I mean, who knows? It might be a skull card as soon as I pull it. So that's the scary thing. I hope not. I really hope not. I want to explore this relationship so much. That's my worry, is that there are 4 cards in here that are skull cards. All right, let's do it. Okay, not a skull card. It's not a major arcana. That is the 7 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles. Phew. All right, we're safe for another day. I was wondering if it said anything about that, but it doesn't. It doesn't give an indication of what each suit does. You know, something. That's what the Wretched did, I seem to remember. Oh, okay. Your lady asks you what your plans for the future are. Do you see her in them? Where do you want to go in the next 5 years? And do you tell her the truth? Interesting. Okay, let's write this down as always. Just writing it down. Of Pentacles. Pentacles. Okay. I think this is, again, I said I'm jumping around the timeline a little bit. I think it's just one evening out of the blue. Again, same setup. She's in my chambers, my rooms, the 2 drinks. She asks me about her day. And I tell her nothing unusual about the day itself. Maybe this is after the reunion, and so I'm talking about how hard it's been in terms of, work, in terms of getting the paperwork done, etc. And for the first time, she holds up her hand to stop me mid-sentence. Like a small smile playing across her lips. What do you intend for the future? I say, well, business. And she went, no. What do you plan for your future? And I go blank. I am someone who lives in the moment. Someone who every day is the same routine of doing over and over again. Another day, the same old rubbish. I don't answer her at first. I think our eyes are looking like we have eye contact. I don't look away. I can't look away. I think at one point I would have been someone who would like to travel. I used to want to write short stories for children and travel all over Europe. See things. My whole life has been about work and work. Travel by boat. Maybe one day learn to fly in an aeroplane, I've heard of such things, machines. See the world. But I don't tell her that. I feel myself say, with you, of course. And again, my hands are on the armrests of my chair, gripping it ever so tightly, feeling this pressure as she stares at me and I stare back. I see her eyes almost like pools, like voids. Can't stop staring at them. She's seeing into my soul and me into hers. But I see no soul there. Just a darkness. You'll stay with me? It's not a question. I don't tell the truth of what I would have once said. Suddenly, all that matters is that I'm here in the room with her. She has settled into my life. I depend on her so much. She's so good at business stuff and organizing and... right? She listens. She's there and she gives me... she sees me and she makes me feel alive. So alive, which right now looking at her I realize how she's so dead. And how all of this, I don't know how long it will go for, but whatever future I have right now, I hear myself say it is with you. There we go. All right, friends. That's all we have time for. Let me look at the time. Yeah, well, that's all we've got time for. I'm so sorry. I know we're in the middle of it, but I think that's a good start, isn't it? So I'm trying to find. Let's go to main Fiona Cam. Thank you so much, friends, for being a part of Rush of Blood, the stream today. Ooh, I hope everyone's okay. That's a big deep breath. Thanks so much for joining us. If you've enjoyed this really wonderful game, please go check out and grab your own copy of A Rush of Blood, which you could find over on Julia Cartez's itch.io page. That's juliacartez.itch.io. This has been a stream for EUphoria. If you've enjoyed watching this particular stream, consider following EUphoria on all their socials, Twitch, YouTube, and check out upcoming sessions for British Black History Month, which is happening next month. Also, if you consider it, please come join us on the Patreon. That'd be really, really cool of you. Or simply spread the word about what EUphoria does. As I said earlier, raising the bar for diversity, safety, and excellence in the UK and EU TTRPG scene. Finally, when I'm not been emotionally and mind-controlled, manipulated, oh my word, I am Fiona. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an improviser, actual play performer, and podcaster. You can find what I'm up to via the link that's probably going to appear in the chat or down below as well. But I would love you to go check out What Am I Rolling, which is a twice-monthly tabletop RPG one-shot podcast where we look at different RPG systems and interview with different RPG game designers about the different ways we can tell wonderful collaborative stories. We've done a lot of solo RPGs on there as well. I'm also the founder of, founder/co-host of the DM's Book Club, which is a weekly book club podcast. We're talking about some Dungeons and Dragons and discuss how we can improve it and implement it in any of our role-playing campaigns. I'm a big fan of Curse of Strahd. I'm a big fan of vampires, so this all feels it in here as well. So you can check out What Am I Rolling and the DM's Book Club wherever you listen to podcasts. And I think by the time this comes out, the announcement would have gone out, so I'm just going to say it now. Whoops if it's gone out too early. But yes, I have the absolute delight of being a part of One Shot Network. What Am I Rolling is we'll be joining a whole slew of shows that are appearing on that over the next couple of weeks, and I will be part of their Patreon drive that's happening in October. So if you really enjoy One Shot and Skyjack's campaign stuff, was a whole lot of other RPG podcasts that are joining them, and we would love it if you come and join us and listen to a couple of shows and support us, because it's a delight to have been asked to come on board, and hopefully other people can see this. So please go check those out. I want to say a massive thank you to Darcy and Ida for letting me have a little space on this particular Sunday when this is going out to record a very sexy solo RPG of vampires. Please take your time to debrief, step away. I'm going to have to do that. I'm very intense in places. And please share the word about this wonderful game. I think that's everything. Much love, my friends, and stay safe. And play some solo RPGs. That's all good. I'm going to find the stream end button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.